I know as U.S. Attorney in Arkansas, you personally prosecuted white supremacist groups. What's your reaction to seeing a former U.S. president associate with someone like that?
Well, I hope someday we won't have to be responding to what former President Trump has said or done. In this instance, it's important to respond. And as you mentioned, the last time I met with a white supremacist, it was in an armed standoff. I had a bulletproof vest on. We arrested them, prosecuted them, sent them to prison. And so, no, I don't think it's a good idea for a leader that's setting an example for the country or the party to meet with avowed racist or anti-Semite. And we need to avoid those kinds of empowering the extremes. And when you meet with people, you empower.
There's Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson there, distancing himself from this meeting with this white nationalist. Who knew they existed? Who knew that they're in my party? Who knew? Well, he's trying to distance himself from this whole thing now because it's not blowing up in their faces. And they still haven't fully said how much they dislike Donald Trump and everything he's cultivated around them, because they still need that white nationalist vote. Don't forget that as the Republican Party tries to push him away, because this is a careful push. Get rid of Trump while keeping the bigots. That's the plan. Either way it goes. People were talking about how not many Republicans were upset about this meeting with Nick Fuentes and Ye and Donald Trump at Mar-A-Lago, considering the implications and the directions in which this kind of campaign can go. We already know that Nick Fuentes has the ear of Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's that other idiot, Gosar, and multiple other folks that he had at his convention. So he's already embedded. Let's go to more details of all this going on, because there's a source within Mar-a-Lago that was talking about how horrible this is. He says this is an effing nightmare. That's what one longtime Trump advisor who spoke on the condition of anonymity said, for fear of stoking the former president's ire at disloyal people who criticize him. He says, if people are looking at Florida Governor Ron DeSantis to run against Trump, here's another reason why. The Anti-Defamation League also was talking about this. The CEO, Jonathan Greenblatt, he also went after Trump for this meeting. Here's more.
So for Donald Trump to dine with notorious white supremacists and unrepentant bigots, I think at a minimum, Sarah, it's clarifying. He is trying to make America hate again and running arguably the most unapologetic white nationalist presidential campaign we've ever seen.
It's quite possible, considering he started his first campaign talking about how those Mexicans are rapists, drug dealers, and murderers. I think it started then too, though, but still, I guess everyone decides to catch up late. There's another group that decided to catch up on this late, the Zionist Organization of America, ZOA. They had just previously honored Donald Trump. Think about that. They had just previously honored Donald Trump. They're a Jewish advocacy group. They said this in a statement. The Zionist Organization of America calls on President Trump to live up to his own powerful words, to condemn in the strongest possible terms Jew hater Kanye West and avowed Holocaust denying white supremacist Jew hater Nick Fuentes. ZOA deplores the fact that Trump had a friendly dinner with such vile anti-Semites. His dining with Jew haters helps legitimize and mainstream anti-Semitism and must be condemned by everyone. Call on the Republican Party to do so, but also somehow this group honored him, but had no idea he also has his anti-Semitic views and things that he likes to spot. We saw it during his first run when he went and spoke in front of a group of, I think, Jewish business folks, and it was as an organization. And he said, "I know you guys really negotiate. You really negotiate. You make sure nothing gets out of your sight." He says these things openly. Let's not act like we don't know this. There's a reason Nick Fuentes felt comfortable walking in that room and probably saying anything that he could say. And Ye, who's found this guy as his best friend, saying these types of things as well, meeting with him. Because he's that guy. He's shown us this so many times. There's more folks spouting off about this. Meghan McCain, of course, she has to say something as well. Let's let her talk.
Well, first and foremost, you shouldn't be meeting with Kanye West, period, after the virulent anti-Semitic bio he's been, saying and
never backing off.
Never backing off. And first and foremost, Trump should just say, no, I'm not meeting with Kanye West because I don't want to be associated with anti-Semites. And then to include one of the most dangerous, notorious white supremacists, Holocaust deniers, also anti-Semites, and then to have dinner with them. I just don't understand how, if you and Kristen invited me to dinner and said, I'm inviting X person and I don't know who they are, and it's a professional dinner, dinner, I'm gonna find out who they are. And I'm not running for president of the United States. So a lot of people are freaking out. There's a bunch of reports about anonymous people from Trump land that are really seeing what a big error this is, how horrific this is. I think it's just another example of why he is completely unfit to run for president right now.
Well, wow, a couple good points from Meghan McCain, because I was thinking the same thing, Meghan. If I'm running for president, forget it. I'm not running for president, I'm just a guy who's known. And Ye's coming in and he's bringing an entourage and we're gonna meet. Who's gonna be in this entourage? Who's coming into my building? Who's coming up next to me? Come on, bro. What are your thoughts on this, Jess?
Yeah, what a crazy state of the Republican Party. Let's remember that Hutchinson saying all of this stuff on Fox News is because he's definitely looking at a bid himself for 2024. This is a guy who's been deeply involved in the National Governors Association. Importantly, had been the lead of the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Agency. He wouldn't be a great president, let's say that. Is he more sane than the likes of Kanye West, Ron DeSantis, and Donald Trump? Absolutely. But let's also remember that him no longer being governor of Arkansas, we have Sarah Huckabee Sanders there. So him saying stuff like, oh, well, what's gonna happen in Arkansas with white supremacists there? He prosecuted them and he thinks it's ridiculous we have white supremacists in this country. How do we think Sarah Huckabee Sanders is gonna handle them in Arkansas? Like, we are descending into chaos in the United States. By the way, you may have not heard of him. Chris Jones was also running in Arkansas and the Democrats didn't even bother to center that campaign last election cycle. But this is who we have running in the Republican Party. Someone just saying, I'm bare minimum not supportive of white supremacists. Then we have white supremacists. Then we have, a black man, Kanye West or Ye West, who is aligned with white supremacists for some reason. We have Donald Trump, who should have been prosecuted by Merrick Garland. Like, is Hutchinson a great candidate? No, absolutely not. He's been the leader of the DEA. He's a traditional Republican. He would be terrible for the country, but a lot better than these open fascists. Like, that's really where they're at with the Republican primary, and it's scary.
Isn't that sad? Jesus, this is where they stand. Actually, I didn't know that Asa was looking for any kind of an approach there for the presidency. That's going to be one hell of a primary as well too. One more confirmation though, you guys, because Nick Fuentes can't stop talking, especially after he gets this kind of shine and platformed by Donald Trump and Ye. So he's still on the Trump train, and maybe a bit of a confirmation about how great of friends they are. Let's watch.
A little bit embarrassed in a certain sense because, this has become a little bit of a scandal for President Trump. And at the dinner, I'll provide you with a little bit of detail for what it's worth. I told the president, and the president, I don't think he does know who I am, or rather, he didn't know that I was me. Let me put it that way. I don't think he knew that I was me at the dinner. Let's put it that way. I don't know if I'm going to say he didn't know me, but I'm not sure about that. But certainly he didn't know that I was me when I arrived at the dinner. And, I didn't mean for my statements and my whole background to sort of be, to become a public relations problem for the president.
He sounds a little bit like he's worried that he may be hurting Trump's chances with his hateful rhetoric. But in the past, he's also said Donald Trump speaks like us. He is who we are. And actually, he should run that way and become a dictator. All this fun stuff, how much he loves him some Donald Trump, but he's concerned that that rhetoric might hurt him. Okay, sure.
I can't believe that that's his setup still. Like, that video of him saying the ridiculous stuff about how we need a dictatorship. Initially, I was like, this must be from a long time ago, but this is still his current setup for doing the news, like hunched over the desk. And the way he is laughing is like, you can feel the pain. He's like, he didn't know who I was, like on the verge of tears, like so upset that Donald Trump didn't know who he was.
I'm glad you pointed that out, because that might be the biggest win for any of these folks. We know how the grift goes. They gotta know who I am. If the people that are most important in my grift don't know who I am, then this is a disaster. I have to be in there, but he's in there. Let's keep it real. This is America.